Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Last week we went ahead and broke down the top 10 best weapons in Warzone for Caldera specifically. Obviously though, we also have Rebirth, which has skyrocketed in popularity over the past couple of months. And today I wanted to focus on the top 10 best weapons specifically for Rebirth, because there are actually quite a few differences between the two maps and what weapons you want to be using. As we go through it all today, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. Really does help grow the channel. And if you're new here, or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, so feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. So first up here, coming in at number 10, I've got the Kar 98K. You could also probably interchange this with the Swiss and the argument would still be the same. These two I think are the best snipers for Rebirth, especially because they're so aggressive and they're so much more fast than things like the Tundra or the HDR or the Rytec, you know, so they're perfect for that aggressive, fast-paced Rebirth gameplay. I just prefer the Kar personally, so that's why I got it at number 10 here. Of course, first up, we're going for the monolithic suppressor alongside the 27.6-inch barrel, best range there and best velocity as well. Also throwing on the tac laser for that better ADS and aiming stability alongside the sniper scope. Gonna go ahead and also put on the cross thread reticle for that perfect for all types of, you know, player tracking and following there. Then lastly, I'm going for the focus perk just to help mitigate that flinch resistance a little bit and make it easier to stay on target while being shot at. Overall, fantastic sniper setup, but it's only so versatile on Rebirth, hence why it's at number 10. Now at number 9, I've got the EM2, which is a weapon that I really wouldn't recommend for Caldera because the recoil is just so unforgiving. I've tried to get some videos done with this, and while it is an absolute beast, it is a powerhouse and hits harder than most weapons in the game, it just has that visual recoil that over range, you know, past 50, 60, 70 meters is just, even on PC with the, you know, max visual recoil reduced all the way down, max FOV, affected FOV, it's just not ideal. It's not worth the effort you have to put in for the TTK you get out of it. But on Rebirth, where obviously all the fights are a lot closer, the EM2 can definitely shine, and it is an absolute beast here. So first up, I'm going for the agency suppressor alongside the task force barrel, usual muzzle barrel combo for any Cold War rifle. Also going for the field agent grip here, better control. We definitely need that. The 40 or the 50 round mag here works just fine, especially with that 250 health still. Then lastly, this does come with a base default optic. If you like that, I'd probably recommend going for something like a Raider stock maybe, but I'm not really a huge fan. Instead, I'd rather go for the 3x optic. I'm just more consistent with that. But yeah, the EM2 on Rebirth is a beast. At number 8, probably another surprise, I've got the Daimati. We talked about this a few days back, just how good the Daimati is for close range fights. It beats out some of the top SMG options. It just doesn't really have that versatility, and also it is a burst weapon, so that makes that skill gap raise just a little bit. But I mean, for a restock class, a ghost class, a tempered class, whatever you want to use, this thing is utterly insane. If you drop in with that Daimati off like spawn or off of a respawn, you don't even have to grab a secondary weapon. I mean, the thing is just insane. Here we are going for agency suppressor. Task force barrel is not bad here. It does hurt your control a little bit. It's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's still very easy to use. Tac Ops though is going to help out with the range, so that's not a bad option. Neither is reinforced heavy in my opinion, so great options there all across the board. You're gonna go ahead and rock either the 24 or the 30 round mag. Really doesn't matter too much. Both of those work just fine. I'm also gonna go ahead and run the 5mm laser, get some better hip fire accuracy in case you need that. Then lastly, I go for the serpent wrap, better ADS time. Ideal close range setup, and this thing really does fry. Coming in at number 7, I've got the PPSH, especially the hip fire build on Rebirth. It just dominates. Obviously, so many fights on Rebirth are in buildings, they're up in your face, they're very close range based, and this hipfire PPSH is insane. It works so well for this map in specific. It's good on Caldera too, but it really thrives on Rebirth. So first up, I still like to go for the recoil booster, even though we're hip firing, just increase that fire rate and that close range TTK even more. The 230mm barrel here is literally built for hip fire, so obviously we're going for that. As we know, you can still run an optic on a hip fire build and it'll give you the benefits of better accuracy, better control, all that stuff. So it's still gonna work out just fine there. I go for the 2.5 times in this case. Also going for the removed stock, better hip fire accuracy, also helping out with the mobility and the sprint to fire a little bit. You love to see that. The steady underbarrel here, literally built for hip fire. Again, another no-brainer choice. The Nambu 71 are actually great. These mags are perfect for a hip fire build in general. Gorenko has a better TTK, but they're not as good for hip fire. So Nambu 71 is where I go for that. Honestly, because you're hip firing here, none of the ammunition upgrades are really all that great. However, frangible in this case could actually work because it's going to slow down the enemy movement, and if you're trying to hip fire, it might make tracking a little bit easier. Also going to go ahead and run the pine tar grip, better hip fire accuracy yet again. Perk 1, I'm going for tight grip, also helps out with the recoil. Then finally perk 2, quick or fully loaded, both of those work just fine. And like I said, this thing dominates close range. Moving on at number 6, I've got the Lapa. This thing is the Slappa, as Jay has once said, and it still stands true in Rebirth. This thing's TTK is utterly insane. So good for close range fights, which again are so many of the engagements you get into on Rebirth. Starting off with the agency suppressor, the rifled barrel gives you the best TTK out of all the barrels on the Lapa once you factor in all the combined shots, so of course we got to go for that. I also love running the Tiger Team spotlight on this thing, get some better mobility. Unfortunately, you got to run the Microflex LED. The iron sights are just atrocious, so have to waste an attachment on an optic, which kind of sucks. And then lastly, going for the 40 or the 50 round mag, both of those work just fine in this case. This thing will fry up close, super basic Cold War setup, but I'm still loving this thing. Now coming in at number 5, I've got the XM4. This thing is about as consistent as it gets across both maps, and for a very long time here in Warzone, this gun has been a top choice for a reason. Low recoil, great damage, great range. I mean, there's not many weapons that are better than this. Obviously, it's number 5 out of the entire game. So here, basic Cold War copy and paste setup. Agency suppressor, task force barrel, field agent foregrip, the 45 or the 60 round mag, both of these work just fine for Rebirth in that 250 health. Then the 3x optic per usual. No changes in the setup, no changes in how dominant this thing is in game. Now at number 4, we've got the close range MP40, the fast, speedy build that has really taken over Warzone in the past couple of weeks. This is one of my favorite builds right now. The mobility is insane. The damage up close is really good. It does drop off pretty severely though after about 12 to 15 meters. So this really is meant for those close range fights in the buildings, in those close areas. But it gets the job done there very well. We are going for recoil booster first up, the short barrel as well. Better damage range, which is kind of weird, but also better limb damage. So it's helping out with the TTK a little bit. I'm also running the slate reflector here. I'm not really a big fan of the iron sights when you use it with the short barrel. So I like the red dot personally. Also going for the folding stock, better mobility. Hand stop here just to minimize that recoil. That's about the only recoil control attachment we need on there, if I'm being honest. Also running with the Garanko 45 round mags, lengthened on here as well. You could go for polymer if you really wanted to, but fabric works just fine as well. Getting that better ADS and better sprint to fire is ideal. Gonna go for steady for my perk here, and then finally quick per usual on the Vanguard subs. This thing literally fries and it also flies, so it's the best of both worlds. Number 3, another big surprise, right? The well gun. We know how dominant this thing is. It's been a beast for quite some time now. Probably my favorite SMG in the game, just because it has that versatility of some close range and some medium range. It's also super easy to use, and it's got great mobility. So like, it's the perfect SMG in my opinion. Of course, going for recoil booster, also going for the shrouded barrel here. While this is not the most ideal close range barrel, it still works just fine with the overall setup here. That's still very fast, very speedy. Going for the red dot on here as always, the remove stock for better mobility. Hand stop just to help out with that control a little bit. Also going for the Garanko 40 round mags, lengthened just to help out with some of those medium range fights as well. I also just feel like it hits more consistently with lengthened on there. You could go for fabric or you could go for polymer. Yet again, both of these work just fine. Perk 1, I like to go for acrobatic for that better mobility, just to allow that to be a little bit faster, especially with that bigger barrel on there. And then finally quick or fully loaded, as always, whatever your heart desires. Now at number 2, we've got the Owen Gun. Yes, the Whale Gun is probably my favorite SMG. The Owen Gun is definitely the best SMG though. This was previously my favorite. I just sort of got burnt out on it. I'm not a big fan of running the same guns constantly, right? But the Owen's TTK up close is almost unbeatable. Through 12 meters, this thing destroys everybody. Past that, it's still pretty good versus a lot of these other like Vanguard subs and close range weapons. You can't go wrong with this thing. It's utterly insane how powerful it is. Recoil booster as always alongside the rapid barrel, getting the best TTK out of those two. Going for the slate 2.5 times to get that better red dot on there. The remove stock, also gonna go for hand stop in this case to help out with the control. The Garanko 72 round drums here, better fire rate, better control, perfect for close range fights. Lengthened on here as well. Polymer or fabric again work just fine, whatever you want to run there, either control or speed. Gonna go for acrobatic once more in perk 1, and then for perk 2, quick fully loaded. Same spiel as always for those. And then finally at number 1, I've got the Cold War AK. It's pretty much between this and the Vargo. I mean, they're basically the same weapon and they basically have the same TTK as well. So like, it's the same setup. So if you wanted to use the Vargo in place of this, you would use the exact same attachments. Both of them are just so good. I felt like it was kind of redundant to have both of them on the list, but Cold War AK and Vargo, super versatile, great for close range, medium range, long range, does not matter. Grew suppressor, RPK barrel as always, Spetsnaz grip for the better control, 45 or 60 round mag here. Again, you could go for 45 because it's not 300 health, then also the 3x optic. Copy and paste this setup over to the Vargo. You got the same meta setup as always. And with that being said, those in my opinion are the best Rebirth specific weapons to be using right now. That's gonna wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, so feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.